rank as non-commissioned officer.
Okay. Brilliant. You mentioned the Andromedans a couple of times. Tell us, what do you mean? I know about the Andromedans, of course, but what do you mean the Andromedans? Tell us.
The Andromeda Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So the Andromeda Galaxy is pretty united and red. It's a non-falling galaxy. So if you look at the Milky Way, you'll see it has a 55-degree angle in comparison to the Andromeda Galaxy because it's falling. You'll also notice the Milky Way is counter-rotating if you look down on its north pole. It's rotating counterclockwise, where most of the non-falling galaxies, the good galaxies, are rotating clockwise, and they're parallel to each other in what they call the eight-carton universe. It's kind of an octagonal relationship on octagonal lines. The galaxies are stacked at 4 levels, like an eight-carton. Like 4 eight-cartons nested on top of each other.
Okay. When you say the Andromeda Galaxy has fallen, what do you mean exactly?
Well, Milky Way has fallen. Andromeda is the galaxy they fell out of. The solar systems in the Milky Way fell with the fallen angelics. They joined the Luciferian rebellion in various maneuvers that created a rip in the Andromeda Galaxy, the planet where humanity used to be, called Tara. And it created a rip in the space fabric, and a black hole. And it pulled systems out of Andromeda and created the Milky Way.
Okay, but Andromeda is good. The Andromedans are largely good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I feel too. So thank you for confirming.
It's a massive galaxy. Milky Way is not that big.
Yeah. I know a couple of people. I believe their work. Alex Collier being one. I know you know who he is.
Yes.
I trust him. I trust his information on the Andromedans that he's connected to, Monet and Phaseus. Phaseus has moved on. And I trust a lady called Marcella Valesco. Have you heard of her?
No, I have not.
She's a sweetheart. I met her years ago in Mount Shasta at Rob Potter's conference. Me and Alex were sitting with each other. So I've known Alex a long time. And we were sitting next to each other. And he said, we were hanging out at this conference. And he goes, I want to watch this lady who's asked me to watch her presentation. And she said she's connected to Andromeda. And so we sat together watching Marcella. I kept watching Alex to gauge him, to watch his body language, because you don't mess with that man at all. He kept nodding at all her information, so that I knew she was absolutely coming from the same song sheet, as we say. And then a little while ago, or a year ago maybe now, I interviewed the two of them together. And it was lovely to kind of qualify and acknowledge the work that Marcella has done too, in the Andromeda. But especially when she spoke about going into the blue sun, and Alex is like, yeah, So it's wonderful because it's so difficult to really, see who's truly coming from the loving space of bringing information without ego, which is very difficult for humans. Unfortunately. The other thing, I wanted to tell you a story, making sure I've written all my, years ago, I don't know if Camp Pendleton was on that map.
Camp Pendleton's not in Alaska.
No, I know, but you were doing the previous American ones?
Yes, it's on there.
Okay, just wanted to double check. So Camp Pendleton, as you know, is like Oceanside, California, right near San Diego, where I used to live for a long time. I lived on the island of Coronado, which is full. Half of that is a complete and utter nuclear base, as you know. I was driving back from Dana Point to San Diego one day, dark, late at night. And as you go through Camp Pendleton, it's just miles and miles of mountain. You would never know there's a military base there unless you know it. And then on the side of the beach, so I'm driving back, so the ocean's on my right, and then the mountains are on my left. And I'm driving along, there's a few cars in front of me, pitch black, no lamp lights, and I look up and I can see tons and tons of green lights. Now, you think helicopter, right? Military base, helicopter. So many of these green lights, so many of them, Jean. And then I threw a thought out, and I have learnt my lesson to stop bloody doing that because something always happens. I threw a thought out, and I said to the mass, I said, I can see you like that. And they stopped and they froze. And then a couple came together, and I was like, oh, and one flew so fast to my car. Now, my window was open this much, and Jean, what was beside me was like a gigantic, it wasn't giant, but like it was like the size of my car, and it looked like a wasp with dangly legs, and it was buzzing. It was terrifying. I was like, oh, sorry, please go away like that, because it telepathically responded to my thought. And then I was like, oh my God, like that, because it's terrifying. In the moment, I was scared, but it looked like a wasp. It was green and yellow stripes on it, and these legs. It was weird. It was odd. It looked like a bug. And then it went that fast, straight back to the mass. And I thought, I bet they're having a laugh, me and my terror. But I got the impression intuitively that they were observing something that was happening at Camp Pendleton. That was the intuition I got. But I felt like there was element of machine and organic biological. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen anything like it. I still haven't. I've asked certain people, have you ever seen one of these? They're like, no, everyone has said no so far. So I don't know whether that sounds like something you've had yourself before?
I've had encounters with insect types, yes, of non-terrestrials. Almost killed me. A Borgia, which is like a beetle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where and what happened?
I wound up going to the emergency room, and they got worse and worse, and they given me different antibiotics, and finally did like samples of pretty much everything except for my spine. Blood samples, stool samples, you name it, and sent him. And he came in and he said, I don't know what you've been involved with, but you have 811 parasites that we don't know what they are. No one does. It's gone all over the earth, and they are not from the earth. They have DNA and material that's not from Earth. So I don't know what you were involved with, but and then you have pretty much everything known to man as far as a parasite. And there's nothing more I can do for you. So, make your last will and testament, because you got about a week to live. So it was at that point that a person that I knew that was a really nice person told me about Jim Humble's protocol. And so he gave me that, and I started getting better really quick. So I purchased a lifetime supply and did it like an extremely fast amount at a high level, and got over everything in about 1 week.
Good God. Jim Humble, is it available online to look at?
It's called The Master Mineral Solution for the 21st Century is this book. It's available online. You can order it.
Okay. So say the name again?
The Master Mineral Solution for the 21st Century.
Master Mineral Solution for the 21st Century. I heard something, I wonder if you can confirm, that, how the ding-dongs that have been running the world, they love to name things after themselves. Oh, how they titter and chortle at us. And there is a virus planned to be released, patented, of course, man-made, of course, to cause harm. But don't panic, people. It's just a rumor at the moment. But I heard it was being named Marburg. Mark Zuckerberg. So boring. Like, yay, android-looking person, we're going to reward you. We can name this after you. Oh, what is wrong with them? I just can't understand that level of course I can't understand that level of psychopathic, and soulless, nothing. Have you heard about this potential?
I heard about it. I just heard about it. I haven't verified it.
Okay, brilliant. All right, well, that was good. I think I'm so excited to hear that you went to Ganymede, one of the moons of, it is a moon off Jupiter. So now you're now the third person, you might be the fourth person who has said they've been there. And you didn't know, I knew others, and I'm so glad that it's just exciting, when you kind of dotting I's and Q's and bringing other people together that also have experiences that aren't influenced by others. It's just really nice to keep the information clean, because then there's an element of like, okay, I guess that must be true then,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Brilliant. All right, is there anything else that we feel we need to share with the beautiful people today?
Just God's blessings, and thank you for the years and the support and those that follow me, and appreciate everything, and thank you for having me on your platform, Dani.
Gene Decode, it is my absolute pleasure and my honor. I'm thrilled to meet your acquaintance. I know that you protect your identity, and I think that what you've given us today is going to be really helpful for so many people. We can stop, pause on the maps, zone in, get more information. I really want people to learn what HAARP is, how it actually affects microwaves, heats up the ionosphere, how it hits and bounces, how it can absolutely affect so many different things that we need to get an education on. We've got to stop avoiding doing a bit of digging ourselves, because that connects us to source and to ourselves, rather than just listening and scrolling on. And that silly word, doom scrolling. Not everything. I'm telling you, I was killing myself laughing to it, not killing myself, but there's a donkey. I love donkeys, baby donkeys. I love them. I love horses and dogs. And I watch too many of these videos because they make me laugh and they keep my frequency high. This is one donkey, Gene. It can't stop farting. It runs around popping off. And its owner is filming it, and it's her laugh. She's laughing so hard, this woman, I'm telling you. So there's a lot of happy things. So when people say doom scrolling, I'm like, no, I'm looking at donkey videos and horse videos and happy things, and not all scrolling is negative, is it?
I saw one with a donkey that loved the owner so much. When she came, it comes running up and kind of wraps its neck around the lady, and it's braying as it's coming up. It's obviously so happy to see its person it loves so much. It's sweet. And there's another one somebody sent me of a donkey and a dog playing together, which I didn't know they did, but it was cute.
Oh, it's so lovely. Those and the animals, they teach us such just unconditional love and joy. Mm-hmm. And it's so beautiful to keep remembering to just get there, get connected. Watch something beautiful, put it on, make yourself, no matter how low you're feeling, just look at something. Because the minute we laugh, the minute we change that brain chemistry, it just shifts us out of, a funk. And, there's so much to do and so much to heal from, so much to recover from for everyone right now. Can I ask you in closing, who you might suggest as people are, obviously coming to meet you on this channel, but also wanting them to kind of reach out to people they may not know, or just share with us who you respect as a whistleblower at this current time? Would you be comfortable doing that?
Well, unfortunately, one is gone. That was James Rink. So James Rink passed on. I was on his platform twice. He was a very wonderful and good person. Pretty much the platforms I go on is because I appreciate the person and I think they're a good person. So if people see the platforms I go on, Anna in Brazil, typical skeptic, Charlie Ward. Let's see, I can't remember them all. There's so many, but there's a lot of good people out there. And, people need to use, as you said, their own discernment. But there's a plethora that I follow as well. I have about 90 different platforms on YouTube that I look at because, one that he's not in the know as far as the Alliance. He doesn't believe in it, I don't think. But he has a daily update that I kind of follow just a little bit. It's Alex Christopher and the Duran. But a new one I'm following that I really like is the Promethean Project. There's two elderly ladies, I think one's in the UK, and they do an excellent job. And then sometimes Redacted has something really good. I like them as well. Stephen Greer, sometimes I look at something he does. Robert Saffer. Through the Eye, she does some things. She's, I think, in Poland. Then I follow North, the Husky. So I love Huskies. Of course, Dr. Sala, I'm on his platform periodically. I love watching Desert Drifter, although he was killed in a car accident recently. Yeah, the Trek planners following on his footsteps, going out into the Northwest deserts and finding Native American stuff, and it's really fascinating. Greg Braden, I like his stuff. Praveen Mohan for, looking at ancient things in the,
he's my friend too, Praveen Mohan. I just went to Thailand with him like 2 weeks ago.
He's amazing. And he shows you things about, the stuff that, like a carving of a stegosaurus on a temple. And it's like, if they are extinct for 30 million years, then, or something, then why is it here? Or was
Exactly. What's it doing there? He is so great. He's a Hindu monk, like for real. He lives as a monk, and
he was.
He's so beautiful. Sorry, I just spent the week with him and like 6 of his team are all Indians, and they're beautiful Indian accents, and they don't mind if we enjoy making fun and laughter with their accent and them doing it with mine. Like, it was so wonderful. We just saw so many things, and there's still so much to decode on these ancient temples and pyramids, and oh my God, it was amazing.
There's definitely things off in what they're telling us about how long people have been around or stuff, because you look at temples in Thailand, and they have a stegosaurus on the temple. And it's like, how did they even know about them? Unless they saw them, or they had knowledge of them, or they were around, or something. They're around then, or the stegosauruses were around then, or what is it? So you have to ask some serious questions. So then I also follow a channel called Navajo Tradition. I like some of the Navajo knowledge. Verzikimon is good for information on what's going on in Ukraine. World News Report. Golden State is good. Once in a while I like Garland Nixon stuff, but I just don't have time for everything I follow. Military Summary is a good, just straight military summary of what's going on in Ukraine. A really good way of looking at it. The Gray Zone, sometimes I like some of their stuff. I follow stuff for home repair, so Saul de Blasio's good on that. The News Atlas, I sometimes follow him. That's Brian Beletic. He's getting kind of off on Trump, so I don't do so much recently. And then, let's see. Ashton Forbes is good for looking into things like MH370. He's a fair knowledge. X22, of course. He's always been good. He's a truther for forever. I mean, since way before me. So, and then India and Global Times, I follow that. Operation Freedom, of course. The doctor there, he's been around for a long time as well. And then a German channel. With the Umfla, Sterreichch, Bunden, something, right? Space Shot 76, of course, he's always good. And Dutch Incense sometimes, Journey to Truth sometimes. They're really good guys. I've been on their platform a few times. Kayush the Stunt Dog, although I think Kayush passed on, so they got a new dog, I think. Of course, Indigo Angel, I've been on her platform a few times, and I do follow some of her stuff. Tech Show has stuff on tech I like to look into sometimes. Donald Trump, of course. Handyman Startup, and Jesse does DIY, that's for home construction stuff. Cultivate and Elevate, he talks about esoteric stuff as well as, gardening with energy technology, like antennas, spiraling copper wires that you put into the ground on a stick that goes way high. That does help. So DIY with Max So that's a few of them. There's more than that I actually look at something now and then, but that's the a lot of them that I do.
Thank you so much.
Those are the YouTube ones.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. That's going to give, there was a ton there I'd never heard of. Obviously, I've heard of Michael Sala, Dr. Sala, Journey to Truth, Robert Callil, a typical skeptic. I was on there like years ago on, on his channel. And then years ago, I interviewed Tyler and Aaron, and I was just in touch the other day with Tyler. And you mentioned James Rink. I mean, his death has hit hard. It's hit right in the core, right in the nucleus of why we're all doing what we're doing, why we're all whistleblowing, and why we shouldn't argue. I saw him at my last conference. He's such a monkey butt, honestly. Okay, so the first year I did, I think 2022, I let him be like my journalist guy, my filmer, right? So I gave him access to all my speakers. It was like, you know, Alex Collier, Michael Sala, and others. And oh my God. And then it's Nan and John Scholz-Moyan and Chris O'Connor, and I think Laura Eisenhower, maybe Brad Olson as well, because you know, a lot of people that we both know were speaking, and I've spoken every year at my conference. And so he had access, and he was filming them in a hotel room, and then I'm like, James, it's like 11 months. Where are my interviews? You know, he put them all on his channel. Cheeky bugger. But that was so cheeky. But actually, that was him. I kind of came to know, you know, that was kind of him. And then the last time I saw him was September the 19th, 2025, just gone, at my conference at the Skywatch. We do a Skywatch. We call in, you know, Craft and Star Family and Connect. We did more of a meditation this year. And he's there. He's handing out flyers for his upcoming conference at my conference, like recruiting my audience. Oh my God, you know, but he had such courage, he really did, and he looked so ill. I felt so sorry for him. He really was unwell at the end physically. You could see a physical decline over the last 2 or 3 years, but he had a bunch of yellow roses for me, and very sweetly gave them. He knew I'd kick his ass if I found him, you know. Without his flyer. Oh my God. So sad. Anyway, the last thing he said to me was, you know, Dani, we all need to unite, you know, and he is so right. And he was so right. And, you know, it's just lovely. It's tragic that he's gone. Tragic. And, but he definitely has, you know, really just popped open doors and popped people open. And I feel like more people are now just getting over their huge egos, or they're ignoring that. Don't talk to that person. Everyone's like, come on, let's just unite. This is what we need. You know, not him to pass away, of course, but we need everyone just like I'm doing, like inviting way more people than ever before. And if you've told me they're a grey, I'm going to go, well, are you a grey, Gene Decode? Do you like you know what I mean? Just to get rid of the ridiculousness that's kept us apart and the infiltrations.
Yes, yeah. So I don't like, you know, say things off about other platforms or people. I let people use their own judgment other than the ones I follow, you know, and saying bad things about people that are out there, really, that's point of, you know, something that people have to decide for themselves.
Yeah, and that list you gave, it's so good. I've written a ton down that I've never heard of. And Redacted, you know, Redacted are, I think they're doing, like, they're really kind of moving more into the mainstream because they're big. I mean, they're over 1 million or maybe 2 million now. I really feel like they're doing some good work. They're like, I feel like they're popping the bubble, popping over the barrier kind of thing into being more kind of present, you know, in what is called mainstream. So brilliant. Well, sir, thank you again for your time. It's been so great to just, you know, sit with you and feel your energy and hear you and look at all the work and the effort that you put into those presentations. And thank you again for gifting to the audience. Can you just give us your website, because not everybody goes underneath to have a look. And do you have any conferences coming up? Do you have anything that you want to announce?
I don't do conferences or anything in public. God told me never to do that, so I don't. But my website is genedecode.org, and you can see it here. And I have tonight news talk at 7. Bi-weekly news update. I alternate another one at 11:30 at night with Paul Broker in UK, and that's at 11:30 on Thursdays. So tonight I have news talk, and you can see a lot of different things I have on. The Decode we just did, the Alien Agenda group series. There's one on Draco right there, and then I have a whole series on just things I've done, a whole bunch. And when you see a number, if you join the website, for example, World Updates, this is 45 of them in that series. And there's the DUMBs. There's 6 currently in the DUMB series. Q&As, I do a Q&A at the end of every month, just about. There's 39 so far there. And there's the DUMBs, envisioning projects we've done. Government and politics, there's a whole series, 3 on the Titanic series, government deceptions, there's 3 in that series. Then I do powerful prayers, alternating between things for the whole family and the art of war currently, and there's 18 in there. And then we do some things on God, and that's a series we do frequently. We have one I do we have God's Bounty in the summer that we do about planning and growing and good techniques and technologies to do that. We do Sermon on the Mount series and scriptural studies. There's 17 there and 38 on the Sermon on the Mount series. And then Truth Behind 911, there's 5 in that series. The Bechag Mountain, the first one's out on that series. Manifest Destiny, there's 2 in that series. So, a lot of different things. So, COVID-19, we have a whole lot we did on that series. There's 5. There's 45 in the World Update series. So that'd be the news talk and also the tea and scones that I do, nightcap. So that's the website. And then my Rumble, if you're on the website, you can just click and go straight to my Rumble. And this is the page section, the deep dives. There's a free area where you can see, the surface area. You can see some things for free in the surface area, and you can see there's a lot of items that I actually give away for free in the surface area that people can see. But if you go to the all that stuff for free, things on climate change and the true history of the Earth and the structure of the Earth, the Hollow Expanding Earth series, there's 2 there, one on Expanding Earth, one on Hollow Earth. There's the Expanding Earth one there. Those are for free. And then if you click on the Rumble, you can go straight into my Rumble. That's Real Gene Decode. And if you go back, you can click on my free website where all the interviews go. So, and there's other things on there too. I don't know how that got on that. I have to clean this off. Something got hacked in here somehow. Yeah, lots of laughs, surprise. Okay, so anyway, you can go to documents and resources, and there's all kinds of materials for research. You can see there all the interviews and videos almost that I've done. We're still getting some up. As I said, there's Tea and Scones with Paul Broker, and it takes a while for it to update to see the thumbnails. And it goes all the way back to the days with Kirsten W. and B2T and all that.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can see there's a lot of things here that are free. No commercials, no breaks. And it's free. So, that I'm supporting 2 websites, the $7 subscription for my deep dives helps support 2 websites, and I can't live off my retirement Social Security anymore, so it helps me live. So, back in the days with many of the different platforms that I've been on, Jaco and McAllister and Joshua Shapiro and Nicholas Benyamin, and it's just a lot of, history here. So I put it up as kind of a historical archive. FISIG, that's a really good platform run by Crystal. So you can see things, Miyoko in Japan.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine.
Yeah, Patriot Underground, and I've just been so many different platforms over the years, so many good people that I've been. There's Kirsten was on that platform at that time in that interview with me. Patriot Dave, who no longer is out there doing things with people anymore. Scott McKay of Patriot Street Fighter. So that's my free website, and I'm Real Gene Decode on Truth Social and Telegram. So that's my main there's my Telegram. You can connect to it directly from the website too. So everything's right there. And then we have that's on the Bluster Service site. And if you go back, they both interconnect. You go back to the genedecode.org. We have I'm not going back there. Okay, let me see. Am I back there? Let's go back there then. You can see there's a community area where you can chat and talk with people, and sometimes I can get time and go in there too. All my interviews and videos, some of my interviews and my videos are in here as well. And there's some things about me if you want to know about me and who I am and what I did, and submarines, dolphins, commission, qualification in submarines, different types of submarines, attack submarines, SSBNs, and the diesel submarine I was on, SSBN patrol ribbon. So I did quite a few patrols on 2 different SSBNs. I've been on 5 different submarines in my career, 21-year career, a little bit over that. So there's the website. So thank you for asking, Dani.
Oh, wonderful. No, I love it. It's so much better when the person that owns the website can show us, share screen and navigate, so that when we go, we've got a better idea of how to get around and how to find your Rumble, your Truth Social and Telegram, and that's really, really good. Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to come up with a plan for you to come back, don't you?
Oh, yes. I figured you would, and I would be honored.
I can't wait. I think if we throw it out to the audience, if they would like to put in the comments underneath this broadcast what they would like for our next discussion, that would be good, again, because people...
This is a 2-part series, as you can see, and these are the links that take you to my website where they're found. And it's also, I talk a bit about it in some of this about Palantir. This is the Palantir decode I did. That's available on my Rumble. But the links, these are not the links for the Golden Dome in this one. These are the links for the Palantir decode, talking about how the Golden Dome is now in control of Palantir. So in this decode, I include the uses and interconnections. Before I just did the domes, and a lot of the material is from Phil Snyder, and some of it's from Martin William Cooper, and many, many, many other sources. And both of those gentlemen were killed by the deep state for revealing that information. Phil Snyder was strangled to death, I believe, and Martin William Cooper, I think, was driven off a road, or something like that. But the greed and hunger for absolute control and power is endless in the deep state. They have no limitations. So if you look at the gold reserves that I talked about that people said was impossible until now, several other people have come out and said the same thing. You can see numbers that, quite frankly, I don't know what the number is. I would just put it in powers of 10, like 18 times, or 1.8 times 10 to the 90th power in US dollars in today's money and gold. That's an amount of gold you can't even wrap your head around. So it is, recommended for those that, have not seen my introduction and my deep introduction on the domes. That's available on my website, and some of it's available on my Rumble Real G Decode. So what created the domes is what is known as Alternative 2. So they have ways to take control and survive whatever they do to the world, essentially, like nuke the world. That's what the domes were about. And also the off-world bases on Mars and the Moon, and etc. And then Alternative 4 was Operation Bluebeam. So now there's Alternative 4. It was originally Alternative 1, 2, and 3. And Alternative 2 is tied to the project Mark Rand. The Mark Rand Corporation initially is the one that built all the domes. So there are at least 10,000 domes worldwide and hundreds of thousands, not just 100,000 miles, but hundreds of thousands of miles of tunnels. And I know of over 500 domes in the U.S. alone. And there are 200 ground bases up until the dome war started with Trump's first inauguration in 2014. Since 2014, the dome wars have been going at it. So it's a little before he got in. But since that time, they're not building 2 anymore a year. But they were building 2 a year at a cost of between 17 and 26 billion dollars each. And as I've said, the drugs, sex, slaves, human organ harvesting, and climate change is the big one. But there was, back when 9/11 happened, $21 trillion missing. So that's enough to build a lot of dumps at that price. So each underground base typically employs between 10 and 18,000 workers on the average. And most of them know that if they were to ever say anything to anyone, they would first kill their family and everybody they know, and then they would kill them. And, they would first destroy their, they're lying and they're this and they're that, and, take everything they own and, make their lives miserable first. So the underground facilities contain a variety of things. You have computer centers and servers and quantum computers and genetic experimentation from non-terrestrials and creating chimeras, hybrids of Earth species with humans, insects, you name it, just like in Atlantis. And they have clone mills. And they have mind control research and systems such as Mark Ultra and Project Mannequin is another one. And then they have slave mills where, they turn people into slaves and Mark Ultras and all that. And storage facilities of pretty much everything you would need to go down there and spend the next 150 years. So they have food and seeds, and if they nuked the entire planet, they could replant it. So that was what their plan was, actually. They want to nuke the world. They want World War III. That's why. So they have everything supplied so they can go up and re-terraform it into what they want. So that's what they thought. That's not what's actually going to happen if they were to do that, because who's in charge of them is non-terrestrial, and that's not their plans. They want that to happen too, but for a totally different reason. So the vast network of dumps and facilities are secret, have a lot of secret space program stuff, as well as back-engineered spacecraft. They brought down all kinds of craft from all kinds of species, starting back with radar. As soon as they got radar, they were able to start bringing them down. And so using pulse technology and beam weapons as well. So that shows you how kind and compassionate and generous and patient the non-terrestrials are, coming billions of light years here, getting your craft brought down, your people tortured and interrogated and killed and hybrided and experimented on, and you don't do anything. So so much for the thing that the aliens are evil, or they're demonic, or they're something like that. So they're not any of the kind. The people doing the abductions and doing that are the deep state, are the rogue deep state that are building these dumps. So there are alliance dumps now, and most 80% of the dumps in the world are now over that, or in the hands of the alliance. And the Golden Dome is actually helping open portals to go straight into the dumps from another dump anywhere else on Earth, or anywhere else at all. So they have the deep state has entire army of cloned aliens that is going to be that they've captured or found, and they were going to be used for Operation Bluebeam. And they have entire fleets of motherships and beam weapons and all kinds of other weapons that people have never even imagined. And the majority are aimed, as I said, at Alternative 4, which is Project Bluebeam. As the head of our space program's secretary said, that was what their last card would be. So additionally, as I said, there are DNA storage facilities. There's a specific dome that stores every movie and TV series ever made. They have massive underground facilities, like under Denver, 6 cities below it, bigger than the city above, each one bigger than the one above too. They have freshwater reservoirs because they're going down beneath the aquifers. So those are huge rivers flowing to the sea, like under the Mississippi is a river bigger that's flowing to the sea. The Everglades is actually a river that's flowing at about 1 knot slowly to the sea. And they have above top secret weapons and gold and financial reserves and pretty much everything that they could possibly want down there. They did have all that. So there are many They had vast cities of housing humans, satanic temples for human sacrifice, satanic worship, demonic living spaces, and much more. And as I said, the black budget was originally 25% was going for the dumps themselves. It's in the trillions of dollars yearly for the money laundering scheme with the Green New Scam, as I said originally, and then President Trump is now saying that as well. So the black budget at the time of Phil Snyder was $1.25 trillion per year. So this is from some of his material. It's much more than that when Trump got in. And you can see now with Doge how many billions and billions and billions of dollars they've uncovered, and they're just at the beginning of it. They're not even really started. So many of the underground sites also have railroads and highways underneath the entire continent where I had a trucker contact me saying he'd gone into a dam in North Carolina and he was coming out of Mount Shasta. So he was coming out from he'd driven across the entire United States underground. So they, like under Kansas, you can now see videos of that one on YouTube. So they have holograms that make what look like and feel like a solid mountainside. Literally, by some frequency, a truck can drive straight into it. They key it and it can phase right through it. So the side of the mountain is often one way. They just go in, or they go into an underground parking area, and the floor sinks beneath them, and they go in like the ziggurat next to DIA. I watched a truck with three huge dump trucks, towing three large dump trucks pull up on that. I'm like, how's it going to turn around? That's narrow up there. And it just dumped the dirt, and then it sank into the ziggurat. And then it came up facing the other way. It was okay, same thing as what I saw with the ICBM. So the technologies are very advanced. So they also have hidden entrances of buildings, elevators where you hit a certain sequence of the keys, and you'll go into lower areas, into dumps underneath that. So, and they're also, for the Agarthans, in the Empire State Building, there's a floor that isn't on the buttons. It's a sequence of keys. And one of the floors above ground is the ambassadorship for the inner Earth. So a lot of what's going on people don't realize. So the security for many of the facilities varies from Wackenhut to pretty much any security agency you can name. So, and they have automated drones and fully functioning AI systems, and they do tests regularly, their security, what they call Op06Ds. And if you remember back when Trump first got in, $500 million was given to the U.S. Army to do training and to provide units that are trained in underground warfare. So if they didn't exist, why would they give $500 million to train a group of the military to do that? Obviously, they do exist, and you can see that at that link. And then I have a series of maps from many different areas dating from all the way back in the 1990s, like this one from Leading Edge Research Group, that you can find online, and you can see the various, according to different sources, in this case Andromedans, the source of information for this, tunnel entrances, in other words, dumps. And so you can see, for example, when I was contacted from people in Iceland, they were having a volcanic eruption that was actually a dump takeout, and there's the dump in Iceland there. And you can see what is probably Dulce right here, possibly, and maybe this is DIA. So you can see a lot of them here on this map. And then this is the interconnections of the tunnels as per the time of this map. It's much more vast than this now, and the dumps. And this one right here, I actually got information on that when that was taken out. And that's a hub of a maglev hub where all kinds of maglevs come together. And there was a dump facility there that was harvesting organs and acro. And then
can you tell us, sorry, let's not skip over maglevs because a lot of people won't know what maglevs are. And can you tell us what area you're in precisely, please?
Yeah, so maglev stands for magnetic levitation. And what it means is a train that is magnetically levitating. They have them in China now that go, I think, 400 miles an hour or something like that. They just zip by. That's slow. Even back in the 40s, they were going 1,700 miles an hour. Now they're going way faster than that. They travel in, one of the machines that makes the tunnels is fusion driven. And it uses lasers or fusion or different technologies to bore a hole that it melts just like a volcano does with magma. And it makes a tube that's glass, volcanic glass lined. And then they vacuum it out, so it's a vacuum tube. So there's no air resistance. And then now the trains that are in there can actually use warp fields. So they can travel using a magnetic warp-driven system that they can go to speeds that, again, people would say I'm making it up, so I won't get the speed, but it's way more than Mach 3. So they're trains that go across the oceans underneath and across the continents and all over Europe and all over the world.
Yeah, very fast.
And I've noticed this. They love their symbols. So, for example, in Europe, they're laid out on the constellations of Gemini and Libra. So if you overlay a map on the doves in Europe, you'll see the constellations Gemini and Libra. In the case of the U.S., you can see what we're looking at here, obviously. So you've got two constellations. Again, they love to do this. It's something, I don't know, it's just some kind of Masonic kind of thing, I guess, that's a map. So you can see it's Gemini and Orion now. So you can see the layout and how it represents. There's the bell, and all the different stars, the shoulders and things of Orion, and then the twins, the Gemini twins. So those are the domes in the U.S. and even has his bow there and everything. So, and there's Jeffrey Epstein's ranch with its dome underneath that. And right. You can also see Bezos's facility, Richard Branson's facility, and they have domes under there. Dick Cheney recently was removed. Had a maglev going to underneath his house, a station for him to go and get on, and that's how powerful and important he was in the deep state.
So he's a dirty pedophile that touched my beautiful friend, Kathy O'Brien.
Yes, he was probably one of the worst, in my book, people on earth. I don't think I should even call him a person anymore.
Yeah, no, not even a person. A half-breed, violent, raping monster. A scumbag of the lowest order.
Yeah. But, that's what they love. And I recently learned, how they create children to be that is by the same way. They rape them.
I know.
Yeah. So they turn them.
I know they break them. They start in the womb, Gene. They start traumatizing the psychopathic children in the womb, and it's sad. But there comes a point where they know what they're doing, and that is the point where they're at choice. They know what they're doing. And Cheney and his mates, and I've had this on good authority. Cheney and his friends, for years, they all sit around. Once they passed the, presidential models around, Marilyn Monroe was one of them, the brainwashed poor MK Ultra men and women that are used as sex toys and worse. But then they sit around carving up my planet, your planet, our planet. They take pieces, because there isn't a government of America and a government of this. It's been a global thing, and people have such a hard time imagining, my government wouldn't let me down, or my church wouldn't let me down. Every being has been let down. I wish people were more, aware. Certainly more are than ever, though, aren't they?
Yes. So I've shown all these maps many times. I'm just clicking through so people can see them again. And, I've got them a little clearer and some color changes on it, so it makes it a little easier to see and pop out. So it's pretty much the main dumps of the world, the big ones. So you can see Alice Springs, for example, Pine Gap right there. and those are the primary ones. And then this is the Archuleta Mesa Four Corners region in the United States with Dulce Base and some other ones, like up in Silverton, Colorado, and things like that. There's some bases and things that are on this map, and landing sites also, as well as electromagnetic disturbances and other things. And then this is a relationship of underground bases and federal land, or what's known as BLM land also. And then this is when they started clearing out the tunnels, they found more tunnels and more bases. So this is a diagram showing what they found and plus what they had, and the main maglev systems that are interconnecting them, the big ones. And these are the known gray facilities. As you can see, there's
gray ET facilities you're talking about here.
Yes, so there's quite a few, as you can see.
Was countless. I mean, there are thousands there, surely.
Yeah. So then this is kind of a mock-up diagram of a construction of something like Cheyenne Mountain, where you go down all the way into the aquifer for the submarines, and then you have the upper layers, and you have the highway systems come in, and then you have the mountain complex itself. So it's kind of and then you might have a nearby airport like the Air Force Academy nearby. Mm-hmm. So it kind of shows how it's laid out. And then this is another one that's showing another one according to the Andromedans of underground bases and tunnel entrances. And so on we go with the Alaska dumps. So all Alaskan dumps, with the exception of Kobuk and Yakataga, are part of the deep state facility built on top of an ancient Borean system of underground facilities known as the Golden Dome system. And that's covered in part 2 of this Decode. And the Golden Dome is like an ArtNet from Men in Black 3, plus a communication system, plus a worldwide energy grid that can provide free energy to the entire globe. And we're not talking using 5G or 6G, it's using quantum entanglement. So it's a very, very advanced system. So it's important to note that the Alliance dumps the Alliance is now in control of all the Golden Dome facilities. So first one, not part of the Golden Dome facility, so all the Alliance dumps will have that on it. So a little asterisk there. So the Clear Space Force Station is a U.S. Space Force base with a dump under it, of course. These are all dumps near Anderson, Alaska. And this new facility only has a small dump for smaller Radiant Glory craft of the Solar Warden forces. And that's,
can you tell us what that is, the people that don't know, the Radiant Glory craft, please?
Okay.
With the Solar,
you have Radiant Guardian and Radiant Glory. Radiant Glory is for things from the asteroid belt out, protecting our solar system, part of Solar Warden, which is the Space Force craft. And then the other part is Radiant Guardian, and I think I have this right, it might be the other way around, is the inside from the asteroid belt to the sun. And so the second and third dumps in Alaska were pretty much connected, so it's kind of like one interconnected now. It's Delta Junction and Fort Greely. It's in this same Delta Junction area. Originally it was Delta Junction and Fort Greely. Then as 2 dumps, they were merged in the last 20 years into one, and so it has 2 entrances. And that's part of the Golden Dome complex. And then the Delta Junction entrance, and there's the Fort Greely. So you can see it's very, it looks like a mine or something, and it looks like some little tiny building you'd never think is going into a huge underground facility that's that big. That between both of those is an underground facility. And then the next one is Ellison Air Force Base, which is located near Fairbanks, Alaska, and the primary location of the 354th Operations Group. And it's focused on the support of the United States Space Force, and it has an underground dome with advanced back-engineered human original anti-gravitics now as well. So not even back engineered anymore, we're building our own. So with anti-gravity, we got control of anti-gravity in the 50s, the deep state did, and they took it, and the Alliance got it in the 80s. So, as I said, 1987. This base is a key component of the Radiant Guardian group under Solar Warden, and is a pivotal part for the Alliance. And so, while this very recently built facility is also now serving as a hub to take control over the other Alaska deep state dumps, it is projected in the future to become a key component of the Golden Dome system. So the Ellison Air Force Base is connected to a smaller dome at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson that is located under those combined facilities. So that's the fifth one. The Elmendorf-Richardson facility is also in Fairbanks, Alaska, and is NORAD's Alaskan Command Center. It's a joint base. Elmendorf-Richardson itself was combined in 2010. The dome for this base works in direct conjunction with Ellison Base Dome. And that's looking down on the joint base. Then you have Glen Allen. The Glen Allen base, the dome is both under the mountain and under the small town of Glen Allen. The dome is mostly used for storage of materials of all types that were used over the years by the deep state to try to get access to the Golden Dome because they were trying it over and over to get into this vast computer, quantum, plasma-based computer system that is ancient, built by the Hyperboreans, and they couldn't do it. So they kept trying and trying and trying and trying, but they couldn't do it. They tried all kinds of things. Some of them were quite disastrous effects. Number 7 is under HAARP itself, pretty close to it. The dump for the HAARP facility is located, as I say, close by. The facility is at 62 degrees, 23 minutes, 55.32 seconds north, and 145 degrees, 9 minutes, 24.48 seconds west, while the HAARP dump is located just slightly different. So you can see the difference here. I'll just let you read those for yourself instead of ripping all the data off. So HAARP stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, and this is directly from the internet, so you can get the same information there. They say it's just testing, this, but it's mind control, weather control, all kinds of things. So work on the HAARP facility began in 1993. It was jointly funded by the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Navy, and it's now under the University of Alaska Fairbanks and the DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. In other words, the deep state military complex, military industrial, and it was designed and built by BAE Advanced Technologies. The original purpose was so this is the party line, analyze the to analyze the ionosphere and investigate the potential for developing ionospheric enhancement technology for radio communications and surveillance. Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Yes.
This is so embarrassing. I heard there are up to 8 HAARP facilities, which makes more sense in the control of the ionosphere and microwaving and changing weather, and that people can't. It's very difficult for anyone to get their head around it until they actually look into it. The government don't hide this. This information on HAARP is everywhere accessible.
Yep. So from my understanding, 13. Which would make sense because that's one of their favorite numbers.
There you go, their favorite, yeah. There was something earlier in one of your reports that was it's 33,000 something. Oh, there's the 33. It's just so like yawn. The satanic symbolism is everywhere.
Yep. So, interesting enough for you, Dani, the hub of the entire system is a little tiny looking thing, but it's massively powerful in the UK.
Where?
I'll get there.
Okay.
I think I did that. Actually, I think I did that for you in the UK dumps. But anyway, I think I have it in this one too.
Yeah, we did do an image. There was an image of HAARP in the UK. Yeah.
Yep. So you can see where they are, of course.
So Australia. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had Australia, China, Japan, Russia, India, Brazil, Peru, Puerto Rico, there, and Long Island, Area 51, of course, the one in Alaska, and then one in Norway.
And the one in the center is the UK?
Yes.
That's quite terrifying. There was a mini tornado the other day, and literally my parents, I mean, they're just old people, their fence was blown down,
Now you can see how they have the ability to control the earth with them and do weather manipulation globally. So that's looking down on HAARP. There's some of the facility itself. Yeah, that's a place I want to work. Talk about getting a severe dose of Magellans and AI assemblage. Yeesh. So Haynes is another of the Golden Dome facility dumps. It's near Haynes, Alaska. And Mount Hayes is the primary one for the Golden Dome. It is used in conjunction with the HAARP facility for weather control. And it was used as part of a 5-pronged attack to try to get the Golden Dome. And that was Mount Hayes. Quite an amazing mountain. And then Healy, Alaska, dump is under all the buildings you see. It's under that entire area. And then Kabuk, which is not part of the Golden Dome. They were going to do it, but they're no longer in control of things, so it's never going to happen. Yay. So Mount McKinley, now known as Denali, was known as Denali, now known as Mount McKinley, is another main part of the Golden Dome itself, the main hub. So there's an alien base beneath Mount Hayes also. So that's a UFO sighting that they saw near the Mount Hayes dump. And then you can see an outline of the various dumps. Talkeetna, there's one in Talkeetna, and there's Denali and some of the other ones. And this is on the Talkeetna dump, the location. It was solely built because it connects to an overland railway system that can deliver large materials for them to attack the Golden Dome. So they have large lifts that go to underground railways, in other words, maglifts. And it has highway system, it has everything. So Fort Wainwright is another base that was used by the Deep State for crash retrieval of non-terrestrial craft in the northern areas. It was now completely under control of the Alliance and currently being used by the U.S. Space Force, the Radiant Guardian part of the Solar Warden Fleet. And that's looking down on Fort Wainwright. Yakataga, as I said, not part of the Golden Dome system. On the surface looks like it's only part of the White Alice Communications Network. However, there is a dome under the facility. So it's another cover, grid cover, it's part of the White Alice.
They look like, is that satellite receivers surrounding that?
It's a communications network for satellites and that stuff.
For satellites, yeah. Can you explain the White Alice Communications part, please?
It's a whole decode in itself. It would take a long time. Sorry. You can look it up online. And it's located at near Cape Yakataga, where you see. So that's some of the links I used.
Oh my gosh.
And some excellent videos to play. And some pictures of facilities and the links for where those pictures came from. Again, the highway systems and hydroponics and all kinds of things they have under there. And some of these are very old. You can see some old, like World War II stuff with ships and things where they would take the ships in underneath the earth. And train systems and all of that. And dry docks. And there's a boring machine there, an old one. And for the truckers to come in.
So Elon Musk has a company, as you will know, called the Boring, Boring company, as in boring machines, boring through rock, creating those tunnels.
Yeah, so, I mean, this picture is nice because it says level number 27, 2,341 feet below the surface, 689 feet below sea level. So, and this is actually a a tunnel system, a dome that's near DIA, I believe, and this actually goes off-world. This has a portal system. And then you can see... Say again?
What's DIA? DIA, what's that?
Denver International Airport.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this is one of the older Big Magleos. This is in Cheyenne Mountain. As is this one and this one. And this one. That's the entrance, the main entrance to Cheyenne Mountain.
Ah.
And then I think this is the dome that has the storage